Alrighty. Should be live. Hello guys, and welcome back to my stream. Today we're going to be working on Zilean's ASU. And we are pretty much wrapped up on Zobi because her textures are pretty much like 90% finished. And so like the only thing really left with her is just finishing the in-game VFX and shipping her. So I'll probably do that over the weekend or over some time when I'm able to do so. But today we're going to be working on Zilean and also on Friday as well. And I might see if I can work on another project as well. Maybe something non-league related, just so we can take a break for a little bit. But yeah, let's get to work on Zilean. Let me put on some music as well. Let's see. Skip around there. Okie dokie. Get my handy dandy tablet and pen. So I did actually separate him out into different pieces, so that way I can kind of look at stuff individually. Let me see here. I kind of had to redo my layers a little bit because of that. So let me correct here. Shouldn't have to readjust my symmetry line. Let's see if that's good. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's turn off that symmetry line visibility and paint in some of that detail that we lost after I had to import a new model. I always try to work on the champion's face first, just because like I want to make sure that the model actually works and that it actually looks like the champion, just in case I need to change anything. So for Zilean, look at this face. Adding the shadow underneath the nose and this crease here, the laugh line. Give ourselves a little bit of a nose there. Okay, I'm gonna make this whole area underneath that eyebrow bone a little bit darker. Nose. Okay, and then add some of his lip here. Just add some highlight. I'm going to choose a slightly darker value, shift it towards red. A little bit darker, a little bit more red as well. Okay. And then I'm going to get his little mouth crease. I'm actually going to shift over to this separated piece. I'm going to turn on his wireframe. That way I can actually see where I built that edge there. A little bit too upbeat, I think. Okay, and then I always like to take the highlight color from like the forehead and use that as the lip highlight. Just helps to keep it natural looking. Trying to do those eye bags. And then we'll put the highlights there in the corner of the eye. And just kind of blend that down. Okay. And then we have a little bit of a highlight here. Kind of adding some mid-tone values here. And I'm also keeping it kind of saturated so we can get some color back. I apologize for the flashing. I don't know why Substance Painter is doing that. Could be because I had this open. All right, that's good enough for now. Let's turn off the wireframe and see what we're working with up here. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay for now. So let's work on a different area. Let's kind of work out his hair. So because his hair is white, I think what I'm going to do is just work with the grayscale and then do a gradient color mask over it. Let's go ahead and render out some of the hair. And the topology does kind of change a little bit, so I need to make sure that I'm honoring that. Usually like to start with defining some darker creases. And then I'll go back in and add some highlights. Okay, this side is going to be darker. Okay, symmetry turned on. And check out the LR art. Okay, let's do the big old hair as well. Make sure I turn on the wireframe so I can see those creases. Changes of topology. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of these weird spots that are showing up. That's because of the bake, I think. Whenever you re-import your model separated out into different pieces, you never want to rebake, because it's just gonna try and like bake onto all the different pieces, so it's not like gonna really do it accurately. Even if you have a version of the model that's close to the high poly to where it would be in world space or whatever, it's just not going to do it properly. So you always want to keep your model like the exact same spot as the high poly at the beginning, and then you bake in, and then afterwards you re-import the new model, separate it out into different pieces. Otherwise, you won't be able to use your bake, and you should want to. Make sure my stream is running. Okay. Really just try to define as much of this hair as possible, because it is such a big part of his character. Character design, at least. Okay, make this area a little bit darker. Okay, good enough there. Kind of bored of the hair, so we're gonna move on. Let's add our gradient mask. Might add levels. Maybe not. Okay, let's just leave it there and work on something else. Let's work on the gold maybe. And kind of shift my window a little bit. Okay, so I do have some gold examples. I thought I put Cassiopeia here. Whoop-de-doo. Let me go grab that again. I thought I had my Cassiopeia reference. I guess I forgot to save. Copy image. Throw that in there. Need to look for Casante's texture as well. So I can grab the gold colors from that. Okay. Actually, that's a bit too orange. I'm gonna select a little bit of a midtone. And just start working this out. Okay. Ah, my rock mask is overlapping the gold. Okay, there we go. Actually, I'll work down here, I guess. Paint in some lighter values on the upper half, of course. Top-down lighting. Wherever two pieces of gold are kind of close to each other, you want to shift the color more towards a saturated orange, just because the gold would be reflecting onto itself, and that's the color that it would turn into. However, I'm not worried about that just yet. I'm just thinking about the base layer right now. Looks like for the hair, I'm missing a little bit of a bit there. Okay. Yep. Looks good enough for now. I'm going to turn off the backface culling and just kind of very lightly lay down a base value for some of these gold coins. Especially towards the back, it's going to be a little bit darker. Yep, that's good. All right, and let's work on the sleeves just a little bit. I'm gonna add a paint layer. And I'm just gonna color pick from Cas. These aren't supposed to be fully white, they're kind of a tannish color, so. But I'm just color picking that white for the highlight. I should have the sleeve by itself down here. Most of the creasing is going to happen sort of at the elbow. Hello, hello. Hello, Vitaly. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. Most of the creases are going to happen at the elbow because that's where it's going to bend. This is a very loose kind of fabric, so I want to make sure I'm getting that feeling through the texture. I'm just trying to keep these creases irregular from each other. Yep. Then add shadow where this cloth sits on top of the sleeve. What PC you have? I'm not really sure because my brother built it, but it is a pretty good PC, I guess. Let me actually pull up the specs of my computer so you can see. Where is that on about? Let's see. AMD Ryzen 7 5800 8-core processor, 48 installed RAM. I don't know. I guess you can read all that. It's pretty good enough to do what I needed to do and run some games. Just thinking about buying a new PC. Oh yeah. Yeah, this one I have is, I don't believe it's pre-built. Yeah, that looks good enough. And then, I don't know why, but I guess because I turned off the back face cooling, but the underside of the sleeves is turning into the same texture as the outside. So I'm just gonna darken that very quickly. Yeah, your PC is much more powerful than my current. Okie dokie. gonna save. Usually the autosave reminds me, but I don't really like having autosave files, so I make sure to save as well. Never know what can happen. I don't think I've ever crashed from Substance just painting like this. Only really happens when I'm exporting like an 8K texture map or something. Usually takes a little bit of finesse to make sure it doesn't crash. Alright, that's good enough for the sleeves. Let's kind of work on the red a little bit. The red areas. I don't remember, but I think for Cassiopeia, I kind of color picked from Samira too. Samira and Casante. So let's see what the artwork has. I mean, the highlight color kind of changes per lighting, depending on the environment. But I think generally we kind of want to go for a bit of a lighter value, shift it towards orange just a little bit, something a bit warmer. Let's check out the backside. Obviously he's gonna have like this big set of golden rings, so that color might be reflecting a little bit onto his red coat. They're pretty much always gonna be there. I might move them around sometimes, some of his animations. For the darker area, just kind of shifting a little bit towards purple. Keep that color kind of cool and saturated. Pretty much his whole chest is covered by his beard. But I do want to kind of render it out just a bit because, you know, there might be some angles where we do see a little bit of the underside. Might have to go a bit darker, but that's okay for now. And let's kind of do a little bit of creases on the belts. This is supposed to be asymmetrical, so did make the UV for that. Okay. It's good enough. Something like that that kind of just goes all the way down. I think that makes sense. All right, good enough there. Let's see what else we can work on. Let me see. I guess the pants a little bit. Let's kind of render that out. All right, definitely want to make sure I follow the topology here. Very loose, baggy clothing. I want to make sure I get that feel. Interesting. Does Riot have internature options after? Oh, internship options after the layoffs? No, apparently, I think they only have like 4 positions open right now, and it's all like seniors, lead, or whatever, I guess. I don't know, I didn't really take a closer look. I don't know if they're still going to be doing internships. I don't know, we'll have to see. I would assume so, because it's kind of like an annual thing. It might not be 3D art specific, but they could still have openings elsewhere for internship. So it kind of just goes into vertical lines around this area. I think if an internship does open up this year, I don't think I can really apply because I'm not really like a junior yet. I think next year I will be, so that's when I will. But for this year, I don't think so. Ooh. Hello, Martinez. Thank you for joining the stream. Martinez. Just kind of adding some irregular lines, figuring out like what works with the topology. And just kind of working those creases in. Kind of want it to be a bit more horizontal towards the bottom. Okay, I think that works. And then, let's see, kind of up here in the shadowed area, maybe shift the color a little bit towards a cooler color, cooler hue. And that will work as like the highlight for like the shadowed area. Okay, let's see what that looks like with that wireframe. Looks good to me. And then I'm gonna work on his legs a little bit. This whole area is gonna be in shadow because underneath the sleeves. They haven't opened positions for internship at this moment. I think they usually do towards like fall. They don't really do it towards like the summer or beginning of the year. Beginning of the year is usually when they're actually interviewing people, but I think it's always in the fall. Because it's like a summer internship. They have people open up applications in the fall, and then they review throughout all the time until the beginning of the year. And in the beginning of the year, they do interviews, and if people are accepted, then they work during the summer. It's pretty much how that goes, at least as far as I know about it. I'm gonna make sure to keep his whole lower half a little bit darker than his arms and all that, because we are working with top-down lighting. I might also want to keep the values a bit more closer together, less contrast. So you're a student right now? Yeah, I'm currently a student at an online university. I believe I'm in my sophomore year right now. I think it would be around two more years to graduate. And I'm studying game art development. This semester I'm actually taking a 3D modeling and animation class, but it's like an intro class, so it's not really like that advanced, and I'm not really learning like that much. But it is a start, I guess. And it does feel nice to have like other students in the same area as me. Can you send a link on your college? The college I go to is SNHU, so you can look that up. It's an online university, because the university I was attending at my state didn't really offer the classes that I wanted, and they also wanted me to be in person, which wasn't really feasible. It's not really feasible at the moment. And yeah, they just didn't offer like 3D art degree or whatever, which is what I'm more interested in. So, all right, a little bit of work there. I'm gonna go back to the hair. Might work with the color version just a little bit. I can always desaturate and get back to grayscale. Southern New Hampshire University, yep, that's the one. Trying to add some mid-tone shading so I can get a ring of highlight, figure out where that is. Okay, we add the highlight. And just kind of define out those edges. All right, I think the hair is in a good spot, so let's move over to the beard. Again, doing kind of the same process of adding some darker midtone to kind of find out where that highlight is going to be placed instead of actually painting the highlight first. Okay, add a bit of shadow underneath the mustache, where the nose is going to be casting that shadow. Damn, it's expensive for an online education. Yeah, I would say so. I think it was more affordable than when I was attending anyways. So it's actually better. I'm gonna check out this icon. Kind of making the mustache a little bit darker just because I want to go back in with lighter values and paint in some of those hairs. Just like so. I'm going to switch over to my circle brush, hard edge. Yeah, you can see the UV is kind of small, so we're getting some pixelation here, which is not great. But I think it looks better at a distance, and it doesn't really bother me that close up, so I'm not worried about going back in and making those UVs bigger. So I don't think it's that important. wonder how small these mustache UVs are. I think it's right here. Well, less expensive than in Nomen School for sure. I don't know what that is. But yeah, university is expensive. Okay, I'm just making the bottom side here a bit darker. Pushing some of those hairs up. It's usually easier to do hair in Photoshop, so, but it's okay. For now, I'm just kind of blocking out the whole thing. So once I pull it up in 2D, I have an idea of what I'm looking at. Nomen School based in SF or in LA, and 2 years costs about 140K. Jeez, that is insane. Yeah, I don't think anybody should ever pay that much for college. That's a bit ridiculous. I mean, I understand like having good teachers and all that, good education, but I feel like, I mean, it depends what you're doing, of course. Like maybe Harvard is a lot better in like medicine and science and all that. But like for 3D art, it's kind of just, you just need to have like basic game knowledge development or game development knowledge. You don't need to be like a super expert at it. You just need to know enough to do what you need to do and do a good job at it. Mostly comes down to like portfolio and the quality of work that you're able to put out. It's not really about like experience. Well, not, I mean, yeah, it is about experience, but not like book knowledge, I guess, is what I mean. Nomen College is a college in Hollywood. My 4-year degree is like 22K. I think that's not too bad. I think that's pretty good, actually. All right, the beard looks pretty nice. And I'm not worried about the quality here. You can't really see like the pixelation. Of course, if you zoom in, like it's gonna be very pixelated, but from here it looks pretty nice. I heard that's all who finished that school get a job. Oh, well, I guess they have a good reputation. But it comes at a pretty big cost. I mean, you can get a job if you're working at or if you're attending a cheaper university. I mean, you're not always guaranteed, but that does sound like school has a good reputation. All right, pretty happy with how rendered that is. So I'm going to shift over down here. It's a lot of hair. I will be wrapping up the stream in about 9 minutes. So if you guys have any more comments and questions, please make sure to put those out before the end. I think I'm missing like a face there. So I need to go back and correct that. Not sure how that happened. Let's see. Does this look better in the UV? Just do a stroke like that. Yeah, I'm missing something. All right, I might feel better at rendering that out in 2D. Let's see. Got rid of my eye mask, so I need to redo that. UV, texture. Let's see, this is the eyeball. Turn on the wireframe. Should be good. Cool. I think Zilean has brown eyes, even though they're always depicted as glowing. But I think they're supposed to be brown, at least according to this artwork. It's kind of cool to see him more humanized. For the alt or whatever, we're going to add a version where he does have the glowing eyes happening. But for his default, when he's just chilling and vibing, he'll have normal colored eyes. I mean, we'll see once we get him in game, if I like it. I'm gonna add the pupil. Okay. Add a little bit of shadow. I do want to add a little bit of eyelash here. Oops. Need to make sure it's mirrored. Let's see. Where's his eyelid here? Okay, that looks good for me. I'm just gonna leave that there and then kind of work maybe the arms a little bit. Got about 4 minutes left. Just gonna try and render out some of the hand. And for where the nails will be, I'll just do a dark color as the base, and then go back in later with the lighter color. But just blocking out where that would be. No misunderstanding luckily. Is degree mean something in USA or is it just a paper? I mean, I guess you get paid more if you have like an actual degree and title. So yeah, it does kind of have a value. It's not just like, oh, I graduated college and you get paid the same amount as somebody who didn't graduate college. I think you actually do get paid more for having the degree. So it's definitely important. Also means like you have a higher education, which for some jobs does have like more weight, especially if you're doing like computer science or whatever, because that stuff is like pretty complicated. Alright, the stream is almost coming to an end here. I have about a minute left. Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate you for tuning in and chatting, and giving me some company. On Friday, we're going to be working on Zilean again, just kind of continuing on his textures. And I'll also show you guys what he looks like in-game with the progress that we've made so far. We'll do that on Friday because we're going to make a lot more progress then. Yeah, and I also did start a little bit on his animations. So he does have some stuff happening in-game, some actual animations that work with this new rig. But there is a slight issue because he is missing like, the guy only has like 12 animations. There's like spell 1, spell, or like his QWE, like they all kind of use like the same animation. Or actually no, his W and E actually don't have any animation, which is kind of funny. And very sad. And yeah, I don't know how long he's been like that, but he pretty much only has 12 animations, which is by far the lowest that I've ever seen for a champion. Not sure why, but it's pretty crazy. But yeah, thank you guys for joining the stream. We're going to be working on him more on Friday. And thank you very much for joining. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the video with your friends, whatever. And hit the notification bell if you want to be notified whenever I'm going live. Hi, Samiran. Sorry you just joined when I'm about to end the stream. Let me see if you guys said anything else. I mean, a lot 3D artist doesn't need like an artist education or something. Yeah, I guess. But anyways, thank you guys. I'll see you on Friday. Peace. Bye. Thank you for joining.